It was a positional advantage. We see that white has great control of the light squares. If the light square bishops ever get traded, the dark square bishop is helpless against a knight that will jump right back into d5. But here, Danya, that move f4, what a choice from Anish Giri. He kicks that bishop back to f6, and he said one pawn push is not enough. He throws the next pawn up the board with g4. And as we saw this game continue here, after the next few moves, Danya, it was just getting scarier and scarier for the Black King. And unfortunately for Richard Rapport, after this next turn here, rook c4, queen 3, queen to e6, f5 was an absolute shot. It opens up the Black King. And after g takes f5, which is an acceptable move, knight f4 hits the queen, aims for h5. And this, after queen e5, step 1 is correct. Step 2 was not. King g6 was a fatal error.
It was indeed. This position signified Richard Rapport's last chance to change the outcome of the tournament. He had to play the fearless king to f8, a move we cannot really blame him for eschewing, because you have to allow what seems to be a devastating check on a8 to add insult to injury, a capture with check on a7. But if you carry this line forward after king f8, it transpires that white actually doesn't have a good way to coordinate his pieces. Let's not forget that Anish Giri has also introduced major weaknesses to his king position by pushing his pawns. The engine does assign a small advantage for white after a move like rook f1. It's hard to say how the game would have ended here. Anish Giri still might very well have won in Richard Rapport's time pressure, but that did not happen. It is not meant to be. Instead, Rapport walked the king forward to g6, allowing a brilliant tactic that Anish spotted immediately. We could see it written all over his face. He actually didn't write the move king g6 down until a couple minutes had passed. So disbelieving was he that Richard Rapport blundered the incredible rook takes d6, a classic deflection sacrifice. If you take the rook, you get checkmated on f5, and that was all she wrote, Robert. A couple of attempts to keep the game going, but Anish Giri was not about to let the cat out of the bag. Another accurate move with the rook d5, and what a way to finish the game. Queen to g3 check, forcing the queen's trade. Is he about to convert a technical endgame? No, he is not. You're shaking your head. I'm shaking your head. Richard Rapport extended his hand, because after queen takes g3, knight takes g3, you're going to get checkmated on one of two squares. Either h5, or if you cover that square, the rook is going to move just about anywhere, even as simple as rook takes b5, and knight f5 is simply unstoppable. You have to give up your rook, and, well, with an extra exchange and 3 pawns, I think Anish Giri would have converted it into a win.